Strength is life and weakness is death, said Swami Vivekananda. We know about the strength. One is the physical strength, another is the mental strength. One is the external strength of the body, another is the internal strength, inner strength. Physical strength is very important. Body has to be strong to have the strong mind. The scriptures also say, Shariram Adyam Khalu Dharma Sadhanam. Body is the first thing to be taken care of. Through making body an instrument will be achieved the dharma, the highest goal, highest purpose of life. Body can be made strong through moderation. Moderation, as said in the Gita, moderation in eating, drinking, waking, sleeping, walking, recreation, etc. Moderation in everything that we do in life. But the real strength is the inner strength. When inwardly we become weak, we are not the real living human being. We become a puppet in the hands of the world. We can't stand on ourselves if we are weak. The inner strength lets us control mental and emotional reactions and to overcome those. Finally, we come to realize our true nature as Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Atma, as eternally pure, awakened and free soul. Swami Vivekananda says, "What makes you weep, my friend? In you all is all power. Summon up your all-powerful nature, mighty one, and this whole universe will lie at your feet. It is the self alone that predominates and not matter. Though the potential strength is hidden in us, we are not able to utilize it. Right attitude, positive thinking, and firm faith alone can help us to manifest this hidden strength within. How do great people achieve success in life? They cultivate certain qualities in order to awaken themselves. Why not we also give a try if we wish to be great, successful in life, and live with the strength? How can we cultivate our inner strength, our mental power? Some of the practices we need to do. The first thing that we need to practice to have the inner strength, to be able to stand on our own feet, not to be shaking and wavering with every comment and opinion of the world. We need to have conviction. The first quality to practice to be strong inwardly is to have the conviction. Conviction in what? Swami Vivekananda said, "Never mind failures. They are quite natural. They are the beauty of life. These failures, what would life be without them? I never heard a cow tell a lie, but it is only a cow, never a man. So never mind these failures, these little backslidings. Hold on to the ideal 1,000 times And if you fail 1,000 times, make the attempt once more. Conviction in the power of oneself. The very first step in climbing the ladder of self-confidence and conviction in oneself is about one's own ability. People are afraid of accepting challenges and responsibilities because they doubt their capacity to perform well. They underestimate themselves and lose wonderful opportunities in life. Such doubting Thomases will never be able to say with confidence that they can do anything and everything. So never doubt your inner strength. You may not be aware at present, but believe that infinite power is lodged within you and will come out with all its glory when you sincerely call upon it by way of positive attitude. We find an example how this great scientist Edison, when he had to invent this incandescent bulb, he experimented and failed and tried for 1,000 times, they say, and finally he came to invent this the electric bulb. The failures should not make us just fall down. As it is said, failures are the ladders, the steps to success. One day success will come because that power is in us. And this Swami Vivekananda's great exhortation gives us so much strength that we should have full conviction in ourselves. The task that is given to us, the job that we have taken, we will attain success. And in such conviction, if we are unable to have full conviction in ourselves, we can bring our eternal companion, our God with us. He is the mine of strength. Viryamasi viryamai thehi is the prayer. O Lord, you are the source of infinite strength. Give me strength. You are always with me. For the devotee, God is the source of ultimate strength. What makes us strong, another, is hard work. The work that we have taken, we need to perform it with all our full attention and with all sincerity. Nothing great can come unless we work for it. Dreams can never become a reality without hard work and continuous work. We find in the life of Holy Mother how much she worked. How much she worked to prove and achieve her objective, to love all as her own children, to not find any defect in others. It is not easy to be able to love everyone. Holy Mother herself confesses that in the beginning, I used to find fault with others, but I prayed and practiced to be positive in my outlook towards others. Not to focus on the negative of others, only to see the positive of others, only to see the good points of others. And finally she succeeded, and she came to a point to say, I have no power to see defects in others. I can only see goodness in others. When one can have that power, that strength, then only one can love the whole world as his or her own. And that needs hard work in the field of mental practices, in the field of our work in the external world. To achieve success, we need to do hard work. Fortune approaches him who is industrious. It is the weak-minded who says, fate gives. No acts are done by mere desires. They are done only by diligence. The deer doesn't enter the mouth of a sleeping lion. Men often desire fruit by speak of destiny only. Neither the lazy nor those who depend solely on destiny fulfill their objective. Therefore, one should persist in self-effort by all means. These are the words of scriptures. It is said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. We have, by mere hard work and self-confidence, how people have achieved in the world. You know many stories when people were even deprived of normal limbs as we have, but how great their positive thoughts are. One person I know and I've seen, he had no limbs, no hand, no feet, but was so strong in his mind, so positive in his attitude. I have heard that in some video clip, that he could inspire people to live. We are so fortunate to have intact body with all the limbs, brain intact working, senses functioning normally. Wow, we are given so much. So why should we feel we are weak? We are strong, we are fortunate. We need to give our utmost. There was a boy named Demosthenes. He had a speech impediment. He had a strong desire to become a powerful speaker. Referring about him, it is said that weakness in his voice, of a perplexed and indistinct utterance, and a shortness of breath, which by breaking and disjoining his sentences much obscured the sense of meaning of what he spoke. It was not an easy task for him. How could he achieve that? He had a stammer. Also due to stage fear, a feeble voice and many such difficulties, but he could succeed only through hard work. As per the doctor's advice, he practiced beads of flint on his tongue and tried to utter words clearly and loudly. He would stand before the sea and deliver speeches in a loud voice and spend hours together, a day studying books of various interests, and became a reservoir of knowledge. To perfect his manners and gestures, he would stand before a life-size mirror and deliver his speeches. Demosthenes used to study in an underground room he constructed himself, bolting the room from inside. He also used to talk with pebbles in his mouth and recited verses while running. Hard work and sincere effort ultimately resulted in success, and he became a powerful and effective public speaker. We know the story of Queen Elizabeth's father, how poor speaker and the king he was. And he felt himself that he cannot do. He found a guru. Sometimes we feel weak. Their guide comes by the will of God. He found a teacher, and teacher said, "You can do it." And teacher was always with him, inspired, taught with his full attention, and that man finally got the confidence and became a good speaker. So, if we feel ourselves weak in whatever we are supposed to do, we have great source, God. We have great source, Guru. Guru's power. Is not the power in the human being which gives us the mantra. Guru's power is ever present everywhere. It is the power of God that comes to that person. Just remembering Guru makes us powerful. What happened to Ekalavya? Ekalavya wanted to excel in archery. A boy. But he went to a Guru. Guru said, "No, I can't teach you. I have already promised to others that only to them I will teach." But Ekalavya didn't mind Guru's refusal. He accepted him as Guru and made a statue of him and started practicing archery under as if blessed by him. Guru was personally not blessing, but Guru's power was coming through his own mind, through his own heart. And finally he became the greatest archer of his time. He excelled even that archer, world famous archer Arjuna of his times, and he became superior to even Arjuna. How that Guru power helped him? Guru never instructed him. Guru was never personally to guide to him. All that power of Guru came from his own heart. That power of Guru flowed from God and manifested through him. Guru is always with us. Whether he is in physical body or he has given up physical body, doesn't matter. So when we feel that we are weak and cannot achieve, his strength comes from the power of Guru. Just remember Guru and put your full heart and soul in the work. Power will come from the eternal Guru. Satchidananda is Guru, Sri Ramakrishna said. God is the Guru, Sri Ramakrishna said. And that God, where is that God? Sitting inside our own soul. The inmost being, inseparable from us, is that supreme power. Where do we go to see the power? Whenever we feel weak in anything, we need to come to that pilgrimage, to our own soul. We get the strength and we can achieve whatever we could not. That is the story of Elizabeth's father, how he succeeded in his preaching. And that was the Guru's grace. Here is the demonstration, is the story of his own attempt. 2 ways to achieve in success in life. 2 ways to attain the strength in life, inner strength. If we feel we are not able to do ourselves, Yadi tui na parish mon Ram Prasad ke sange nena. Where is that Ram Prasad? Ram Prasad sings one of song. Try to evolve spiritually. Oh Ram Prasad, oh my mind. If you cannot do yourself, take Ram Prasad along with you. Ram Prasad represents that being. Though he is Ram Prasad, he says, take the soul of Ram Prasad. Take that the all-powerful Atma with you. Mind. You take the strength from the Atma, get connected with the Atma, my own self, and then you will, how will you not attain success? Work hard in your work, and spiritual practice is intimately connected with the job that we do in the world. If we spend 8 hours, 10 hours in our work, if that is totally dissociated from our spiritual life, if we are not connected with our spiritual practice 23 hours of the day and 1 hour we sit for meditation and prayer, then our prayer will not be successful. Every bit of work that we do should be conducive and helpful in our spiritual practice. Those times when we work in secular world as the service of human beings, that should be a part of our spiritual practice. How we do that? Just change the attitude. Do it as a service. Do put your full heart in that. Enjoy your work. If we really hate our job that we're given, our spiritual practice will not be good. We will not be able to pray to God if we hate our work. Monday comes and we feel tired, sorry, oh morning again we have to go to my work. Why should that be so? The work we do is what for? It is an yajna. It is a worship of God. Whatever we do, we work in a bank or teach in a school or perform surgery in the hospital as a doctor, all is the service of God coming in front of me as a patient, as a client, as a student, anything. And when we start thinking other as a manifestation of God, we are performing spiritual practice. If we could have this change of attitude, our work, we could put full 100% mind in our work. Hard work we can do, and yet we won't mind. And when we have that sense of attitude in our work, we come to pray in home. Our prayer will be fantastic. Prayer will be fantastic. There is no remorse. There is no hatred for anyone. There is no hate for the work that I have to do. With that happy mind, we come to the altar, I sit in front of God, or I sit just calling God a supreme being, then real prayer starts. That is the inner strength that comes from hard work. Hard work can be done and achieved by associating everything that we do to the divinity. The whole world is nothing but God. The scriptures say, and human beings, those who have achieved, they say, we in our ignorance are not able to see the divine, the perfect, the blissful, the happy being in front of us. Holy Mother could see. She could see goodness in even in dacoit. Dacoit comes, she is alone, and she could see there is goodness in him. and says, "Father, I am your daughter." How would that come if she could not see? She would have run away. So she could see that goodness. By seeing the goodness in other person can be developed. If you really feel there is goodness in other person. That's why Buddha could find Angulimal. Who will go to change that Angulimal? The king wanted to suppress it, wanted to defeat it with power and military power. They couldn't because he was so ferocious, almost devil, just like an animal, just like a tiger, doesn't have any sense. Buddha, out of love and conviction of goodness in the heart of that person, there is good in that, even in that most cruel person of that time. He used to cut the human beings, loot them, cut their fingers and make garland of this. How brutal and how animalistic he had become. Even animals are not that brutal. To go to that person, Buddha, how he could go if he had not conviction that that person also has got all the goodness hidden, covered by cruelty. The wall of cruelty was removed by love of Buddha, by love of conviction in the goodness of that man. So we see the world, and seeing a person treating us little ill, and we forget everything, that the fire, the light of Atma is burning, always burning inside that person. Only external little behavior, few words, few gestures, just put us forget everything. Then we become weak. The strength is trying to see the goodness in every other person. By that the love grows, and there is nothing that love cannot conquer. If that love has come to our heart, we will not mind working hard for whatever job is given to us. To succeed, you must have tremendous perseverance, tremendous will. I will drink the ocean, says the persevering soul. At my will, mountains will crumble up. Have that sort of energy, that sort of will. Work hard and you will reach the goal, says Swami Vivekananda. Tremendous power we have that needs to be put into the work that we do. The third thing that we have to practice to grow inner strength is willpower. We are experts in taking vows and breaking them within no time. It is easy to take vows, but difficult to keep them up. And there is the question of willpower. What I say, I must perform. It must come to work. I can do it. That faith can come from by developing willpower. And we have stories. You see that Bhishma promised to his father that he will not marry. And circumstances happen that if he doesn't marry, there will be no progeny to rule. The one who had promise from Bhishma's father that Bhishma should not marry, that very stepmother of Bhishma said, in the circumstances, Bhishma, please get married and have progeny to rule the kingdom. Bhishma said, no, I have promised, I will remain a celibate for whole life. And he could keep that promise because of his willpower. Weak minds always search for excuses. The mind is flimsy and restless by nature, always wants to flow downwards, always ready to compromise. Those who possess a strong will and are determined to achieve great things never listen to their minds. They use or make their minds work for ourselves to achieve higher things in life. We know the example of Terry Fox, whose one leg was with polio. He just has so much inner strength, so much willpower. I will walk across Canada. And he did that with one leg, with artificial limb, another leg right. And that is so much of inspiration. There are so many inspiring people who had great willpower with which they could do what people with normal lives could not do. This is all the projection and manifestation of willpower in a person. I can do. If that thing comes, because in infinite strength we are here to infinite strength. We are connected to God. Viryamasi Viryamaidhehi. We have prayed to God sincerely to gain the strength of mind. And when sincere prayer is there, God cannot but grant that prayer. Only Sri Ramakrishna says it has to be sincere, come from the heart. Whatever you ask from God, it will come. Inner strength is not needed only to go walk across Canada. It is needed to have a spiritual practice. It is needed to have motive to make ourselves better person. We need great strength, great willpower. Yes, I can achieve. Yes, I can achieve God. Yes, I can become a better person. Controlling hatred, anger are smaller things. I have to achieve still higher things in life. I have to realize the truth itself. I have to see God as manifested in this world, That much of willpower if we have, then we can proceed further. Infinite power is given to us. They say in the form of Kundalini, every one of us has eternal power. That only that Kundalini needs to be aroused. Not only through Kundalini is the inner strength, figuratively said, it is the coiled strength lying at the base of our vertebral column, at the end of our spinal cord. It is just the symbolic. That if that is power there, you need not do only the yoga, but any act of love, any act of oneness, any act of hard work, any act of self-confidence and power and willpower will rouse that Kundalini, and we start manifesting the divine power that is hidden in us. Whether in heart, you don't have to even think of Kundalini, where it is, what are the chakras, how it pierces the chakras, nothing you need to know. But that infinite power will just rise and you become better and better person every day with positive thoughts. And the progress in strengthening ourselves, with that progress comes more confidence, more willpower, and I can achieve that feeling comes. We know how Swami Turiyananda, today is Swami Turiyananda's birthday according to the Tithi. Swami Turiyananda had so much strong willpower. Once doctor had to have surgery of his carbuncle on the back. It has gone very worse. And doctors said, we have to give you anesthesia. Turiyananda said, no, you don't need to do it. Doctors thought it's so painful surgery, how he can do? He said, I have strong, with his willpower and training, he said, I can put my mind away from my carbuncle on the back, and you can put your knife as deep as you like. Doctors didn't believe they were doing that slowly, and they found there was no knowledge that he was cutting at all. He was being cut at all, the wound. That comes from the practice of willpower, and willpower comes from the practice of concentration, and that comes from making the mind like a lump of clay, in the language of Swami Vivekananda. Lump of mind becomes like a lump of clay. Put it on this wall this time, bring from that there, put it on that wall. Wherever you want to put, it is there. If mind is not there on the body and is put in somewhere else, how the body will feel? Our body feels pain or sensation because of our mind. The mind has so much control by Swami Turiyananda, by the practice of mere willpower. Cut it. I can take my mind away from the body. I am not able to know anything. That is what the samadhi is. What is samadhi? But taking away, Sri Ramakrishna says, by in bhava, in deep love for God, people, a man or woman forgets this world and also forgets this body totally. That I am this body totally is forgotten when one is at the higher level of spiritual experience. In Bhakti it's called bhava, in Vedanta it's called samadhi. The Savikalpa Samadhi, not the highest kind of Samadhi, when no life is seen in the body, but in lower kind of Samadhi, when the mind is there, you are aware that you have the mind, you are aware of your ego, but you have so much control over your mind that you want mind, don't go there, and mind obeys you. How often in our condition, someone has disturbed our mind with something happened, either in our family life, something that untoward thing happened, or someone said something to us, or someone did something to us that we didn't like. And our mind got disturbed. And when I got disturbed, we got angry. Later on we realized, oh, I became angry. I want to give up that. I want to forget that what I have done. We realize, but we can't forget. It comes to us. That is a very sane act to be able to know that I am angry and I want to get rid of that anger. I am hateful and I want to get rid of that hatred. That feeling comes. And our mind in such a state, though I want to forget that thing, mind does not forget. Mind brings us again and again. I don't want to keep mind and think of that person. But I am not able to bring my mind from that person. The more I want, mind is always lingering around that situation, that person, that fear, that moment. That is the condition of our mind. And Turiyananda ji got it. I will not think of the body. Doctors got surprised. Again, there was something to be done, dressing. They wanted to cut. Turiyananda ji cried. And he said, why Swamiji, you are crying, shouting? He said, I have pain now. But we cut very deep last time, you didn't say anything. You had told me that you are going to put surgery there and put my mind away. Now this I had not done, my mind was there. Mind is like a lump of clay. Wherever they want, they can put. Go at the feet of Lord. Holy Mother was once asked, Mother, do you always remember your divine nature? Mother said, how can that be? If I always remember my divine nature, how will you act? Will I act as a human being? And if I always act as goddess, then how will you relate yourself to me? I will be like Mother Durga, coming for a few days, taking a prasad and going away. How will you follow me? That was his by me, that means she said. And she said, she didn't speak exactly these words, but that was what she said, that no child, but whenever I want to remember my nature, real nature, I can do that. Hasta malakavat. Knowledge of the self is in their hand. Whenever they want to see, the amlaki, there's one fruit that grows commonly in the wild in India. It's called amlaki, myrobalan. It's something other name. So, emlik fruit. So, emlika in the hand, that is the language of Vedanta. The knowledge of the self is like that. By sheer willpower, they had grown that thing. And whenever they want, they can see that. It's so easy. Which Muhammad said, the God is close to us like our jugular nerve, our nerve in the neck. Very our own. That knowledge is, I touch God. Like that happens. For us, the God is so near, we feel it's so far. Where is God? We can't get it. We can't get it. And He's sitting inside us, closest to us. Nothing can be closer to us than God Himself, because God is our own real basis, our own real nature. So that can come through practice of willpower. And that's what Swami Vivekananda has said. And Swami Turiyananda showed in his life. Swami Vivekananda said, you must not say that you are weak. How do you know what possibilities lie behind that degradation on the surface? You know but little of that which is within you. For behind you is the ocean of infinite power and blessedness. Just behind, just touching is that infinite power. How can we be weak? Another thing that we need to do, grow inner strength, is self-respect. All our weakness is because of the lack of self-respect. Anybody says something, because we do not have an idea about ourselves, we start believing what he said. And because we believe, that's why we get angry. Someone comes to me and says something, and I become angry so that what he said, I believe. I give credence to what that person said. I give credence and I feel insulted. Why should I otherwise feel insulted? I don't have self-respect. I don't have opinion about my own self. That is the greatest weakness. It is well-known fact that people who are of hard work, knowledge, wisdom and perfection are always honored and respected everywhere. Whereas the ignorant, inefficient, lazy and dull people always face humiliation and insult. Those who feel humiliation and insult are ignorant, insufficient and lazy. There are people who, in spite of being humiliated, insulted, warned several times, scolded for their blunders and even punished, never try to improve themselves. No inner greed, no faith in themselves, no self-respect that they can achieve the highest. They have come to think that, oh, that person belongs to some other class. I cannot be like that. Arjuna, oh, he could conquer sleep. He was a Gudakesha. I am a simple ordinary man. We often say, oh, how can do? I am an ordinary person. A person, how can you be ordinary? You are a human being. The God has given extraordinary quality to you. That's why you have become a human being. Otherwise, if you are ordinary, you would be a frog. Frog is ordinary, earthworm is ordinary. Human being is not ordinary. All extraordinary powers are given to you. Whenever we say, oh, I am an ordinary person, I am an ordinary householder, how I can achieve to the state of what saints have reached, how I can treat everyone as good, how I can love everyone, this is all having no self-respect of ourselves, degrading ourselves. That is the weakness, greatest weakness. They are people with a thick skin. They suffer from all kinds of physical and mental tortures, but don't want to change their attitudes due to lack of inner strength. But sensitive people consider humiliation worse than death and always try to improve in order to protect their honor and self-respect. Love for self-respect helps them to show their confidence within and they rise to the particular situation and prove themselves by accepting challenges in life. When anybody says something to us, humiliates us, Swami Kripamayananda said, why do you react? Think, what he said is true or untrue. If what he has said true about yourself, then try to correct yourself. If what he has said is wrong and untrue, ignore that. But don't react to what he has said. Don't be angry on what he has said. Don't feel yourself humiliated. Humiliation is the feeling of someone's comment on us. Someone if comments something, it is up to us whether we feel humiliated or we take that thing as something good advice. So it is up to us. Humiliation, that person didn't humiliate us. We humiliate ourselves by taking the advice of that person in a negative way. Humiliation is our own creation. Insult is our own creation. If I refuse to be insulted, no one can insult. Buddha was insulted by so many people, and he said, I am not insulted by whatever you said. I didn't take any of your words. He was so strong, so much inner strength Buddha had. He started new philosophy of religion, which was not practiced at that time. Single man, where that strength comes from? Of course, Buddha the strength, Jesus Christ the strength. Lord, forgive those. They do not know what they do when he was being crucified. From where that strength comes in a human being? That strength comes from the knowledge of the self, from the knowledge of realization of God. That strength cannot be cowed down. That is our goal, to achieve that inner strength where world cannot do anything to us. We will not be afraid of anything. We will not be afraid of disease, of old age, of death. Only that can come when we realize that we are the one who will never become old. We do not get disease. We do not die. For we are not this body, this bundle of flesh, blood and bone. We are Atma, we are spirit, we are immortal, we are self-luminous light. If we could understand that ourselves, inner strength will just flow. How the words of humiliation sometimes become very strong thing in their life. We know the poet Kalidasa. He was married to a princess who was very wise. And the princess thought he was a wise man. And Pandits did some trick to prove that Kalidasa is a wise man. He was one of the dullest person. You know the story how there was one princess in the kingdom and she was very arrogant. The priests and the ministers, they thought that this princess needs to be taught some lesson. So when the time for marriage came, so nobody was interested to marry her because she was so arrogant. Then the king said, can you find some suitable candidate? So one person was found and they tried to find very dull, most idiot person. So looking that, they found one person was cutting a branch of a tree for fuel, and he was sitting at the end of the branch and he was cutting in front of him. He doesn't know that when the branch will be cut, he will fall down and die. So this is the most idiot person in the world, they thought, and called him down. And they said that we'll make you marry with the princess of the queen. So he doesn't know anything, and he said, don't speak anything. Whatever they speak, just keep quiet. And don't say anything, just be, then we'll be there to explain what you do. So what happened, they went and princess came. She was really very, very scholar and very learned girl. And she comes and the princess said this. Kalidasa was asked not to do anything. He couldn't say, he said this. He thought that she wants to poke my ear with poke my eye, one eye. Then Kalidasa said, I'll poke your eyes, both eyes, like that he said. Then Pandits were there, then what does that mean? So Pandit said, oh, he says that this Kalidasa is very intelligent, he doesn't speak much. He said that Advaita is true, Dvaita is also true. The philosophy is believer in Dvaita, God and nature is also true. It depends on how we see. So all they explained whatever Kalidasa did, and finally they were married. And when they went to, the wife went to husband, then she finds, oh, he is the most idiot person. Doesn't know anything of the scripture, had never read. So then she humiliates that person. Whom I have been married, you are the worst person in the world. He was not an idiot. He just didn't use his skill. Then, after this humiliation, he said, I need to learn. He put his all effort in learning and became Kalidasa, the greatest poet of Sanskrit. Wrote so many good books, Raghuvamsam, Shakuntala, all of the creation of Kalidasa. And that all became by his self-respect. That was roused by, as a result of, let's say insult, humiliation by someone. Anything that he felt that what was being said, he can achieve it. So something needs to be roused. And you know, in the life of, as we're talking of Elizabeth's father, there was a teacher who finally humiliates him. Finally humiliates that person, and then he starts speaking. Sometimes out of anger, out of humiliation, strong shock given. Then the Brahman rises. Then the inner strength rises. Yes, I can achieve. I will show, I will do it. Sometimes it acts as a tonic, as a shock, as a shot in the arm, and he goes. Then we have the story of Kalidasa coming. There are so many stories about the people who have achieved the things. I know of a Swami, he was drowning. And as a Swami, we are all supposed to think of God always. Devotees asked, Swamiji, we heard that you were drowning in the river, and you must have remembered God at the time, Thakur at the time when you were drowning. He was so sincere, he said, no dear devotee, I could not remember God. I could not remember Thakur, I was remembering only how to save myself. And he confessed this to the devotees, so sincere and honest. After that he practiced remembering God always. And finally when he died, he must have remembered God. Thakur must have come to take him. And that was a moment that turned and he made him practice more. I know of a Swami, he used to be very fun-loving, talking nicely, and used to be very, very friendly with everyone. But whenever he went in the car, someone was driving, he just kept mum. No talk, nothing, no smile, very serious. After some time, another companion, junior monk asked, Swamiji, you were so happy always, talking and all that, but what happens when you travel in the car? Why your mood changes? Then he says, you know what I do in the car when I go in the car? I always do japam. I always take the name of God. Then why in the car? Because you don't know when the accident will take place. I have heard so many accidents taking place and people dying. I want to remember God at the time of death. I don't want to miss this chance. So that's what they say. So remembering God always, that type of practice. Practicing remembering God always. That is one example. But death can come any moment, whether you are in the car or you are sleeping on the bed or you are sitting on a chair. Anytime death comes. That's why we need to remember God always. If we could do that, automatically we will remember God. God's name will come at the end when we have to give this life. If we could just remember God when our breath goes, then God has to run to us. He's just bound. He cannot do anything. God has to run to us. Come, my dear, you have remembered me. I cannot remain in Vaikuntha or in heaven or anywhere. I have to come to rescue you. That's what he has promised, and many stories in the mythology have shown that how Ajamila just took the name of Narayana at the time of death, and Narayana came running to him, though he was not had a good life. But name of God was uttered. God is bound to come. That Sri Ramakrishna said, why he uttered God's name, He had practiced a lot before that, remembering God. Another thing that we need to have the inner strength is long preparation. Nowadays is a trend of managing the things and the problems on the surface, but not at the root. We put more energy on solving problems. It's not enough to manage things, but it is important to solve from root. Great things happen not out of miracles, but out of a strong practice and preparation. Those who do not prepare well and try to manage things haphazardly always meet with embarrassment and failure in small targets. Most people keep on thinking about goals but do not act upon it to achieve it. Jan sadhan tan siddhi. Preparation of becoming the Swami Vivekananda. We know how Swami Vivekananda was made out of Narendranath. He started from the day he came in contact with the Master, Sri Ramakrishna, at the age of 19. Sri Ramakrishna knew that his disciple Narendranath was none other than Narayana himself. He would become a world teacher. Sri Ramakrishna molded his life accordingly, training of the Guru, arguments, rebukes from the Guru, knowledge of the people during his wandering days, deep study of his scriptures and different branches of knowledge, and his developed love and compassion for the entire mankind. The spiritual discipline were the factors behind his success and transformation from Narendranath to great Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda said, without proper preparation, no person can be confident of success. Pay as much attention to means as to the end. It was told to him by one of the great saint of his times, Pavari Baba. Commitment, to keep the commitment. The person who can't keep his or her commitment to a particular cause is the biggest weakness. Commitment to the cause, commitment to the people and fulfillment of the commitment is the biggest virtue in our character. It makes you confident and builds you from within. When you have taken some job, you can manifest that strength, inner strength, not become weakened by that happening in the world. We know the story of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. He was pleading in the court of law, and one telegram came to him. He just folded the telegram and put it in pocket. And after finishing all the argument that had to present, went outside and rushed back home. In the telegram it was said his wife had died suddenly. But that did not deter him. The world could not affect his work, his job. He went and did all the jobs. His loving wife had died, but he didn't sat down and started crying that moment. He could finish that. How the inner strength comes to this great person of everyday life. Swami Vivekananda said, all the powers in the universe are already ours. It is we who have put our hands before our eyes and cry that it is dark. Know that there is no darkness around us. Take the hands away, and there is the light which was from the beginning. Darkness never existed. Weakness never existed. We who are fools cry that we are weak. We who are fools cry that we are impure. Thus Vedanta only insists that the ideal is practical, but that it has been so all the time. And this ideal, this reality is our own nature. Everything else that you see is false, untrue. As soon as you say, I am a little mortal being, you are saying something which is not true. You are giving the lie to yourselves. You are hypnotizing yourselves into something vile and weak and wretched. That's what Swami Vivekananda won. Next week we are going to celebrate his birthday, and He is the epitome of strength. Only seeing his pictures, his eyes, his life, remembering his life, gives us strength. Weakness leads to bondage, to fear, to selfishness and self-centeredness. Weakness is dependence on others, reactions and opinions. Lajja, ghrina, bhoy, tin thakte noy. The shame, hatred and fear won't let you reach the goal. Strength is to be true to oneself, to be free from all pretense, from getting affected by others' opinions and comments. Faith in one's own self is the greatest strength. The weak live only for themselves. Strong lives for the world. The idea of oneness is the greatest strength. The firm belief in God gives the devotee true strength. The devotee feels God's hand in every moment of his life, in his happiness and misery, in peace and restlessness, in life and death, and that is the secret of his or her inner strength.